Welcome in to our weekly webinar workshop, whatever you want to call it, deal review Q&A. Happy to have you guys here. We will get started here in a minute. Put your questions in the chat. Any questions you want to go over today? Also put in the chat if you guys don't mind. We'd love to hear your land experience as well as your where you're joining us from, your location. I know we had a ton of people down in Florida last week, Dan.
Yeah, it was a good mix last week. I mean, we're coming back because you guys keep hitting that subscribe button when you're in here, and also you guys keep we're getting a lot of people in here. It's cool. It's fun to interact with everyone. It's a different platform we've done it on. So this is our fourth one. We're excited to hash it out again today. Yeah, MLM's already in it, throwing in his deals, throwing your guys' deals and questions in there as well. But let's hear where you guys are from. Where are you guys coming out of? Is this your first time, or have you guys been here before? What's going on, Thomas? How are you?
Yeah, SS3 Mania. Go to landinvestingonline.com. I think it's plans and pricing at the top.
Yeah, I'll put the link in here.
Cool. We'll get to that in a second, Max. Yeah, let us know where you guys are joining us from. We're going to give it another minute or so. Land Investing. There you go. California, upstate New York. Welcome, Greg. Hey, Max.
Louisiana. First time catching. Welcome, Paris.
Let's go. Just saw Paris in Discord. You're in Discord, right, Paris?
Coming from DC, California. We get Chicago. Welcome, Shams.
If you guys don't mind, before we get started, if you guys are not subscribing right now, you'll see it will either say subscribed or subscribe. If it says subscribed, it means you've already subscribed. If it says subscribe, please hit that button. It really helps us out, helps extend this reach. These calls, like Daniel said, are growing. That's why we're doing them on YouTube. We're trying to bring you as much quality free content as possible, but please hit that subscribe button. It really helps. We'll say that a couple more times, I think, Dan.
Yeah, we will. But the goal of this is to go over your guys' questions, go over deals, Q&A, as much value as we can bring in this next 30 minutes. We'll get after it. So throw your guys' questions in. We got a Hawaii. Wow. Aloha from Hawaii, Therese. Throw your guys' questions in there. If you guys have, we'll come back and get through them. And coming from Georgia, Washington State, North Carolina, Chicago. Very cool. Florida. Nice, guys. Excited to hash it out here.
Capital, Florida. You ever heard of that?
No, I was looking at that. Interesting.
All right, let's get started here, Dan. I'm going to share my screen. Second. All right. So like always, guys, don't hesitate to ask. Please put in the chat where you're from, your land investing experience. Please put your experience in there as well. It really helps us kind of gauge how detailed, how advanced to take this call. All questions are great. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. If you guys do want a deal review that you guys have, I know a lot of experienced land investors in here as well. APN, county, state, purchase price, any other info on the property. We have a hard cutoff at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get to as many questions, as many deals in the next 30 minutes as possible. Then we have our members call following. Let's get to it, Dan. I'm going to get Max's deal up here.
Let's do it.
Actually, hold on. I think I had another. So we use a platform called ID Land. I'm going to bring that up for you guys. If there's any questions, Dan, before I get this up, I'm going to get this up real fast.
Yeah, I saw a couple. One person asked who copied who with the green shirt. This might look green on stage or on camera. This is gray. I always make sure I look at Ron's shirt and make sure we're trying to not wear the same thing on camera.
Get this light fixed. All right, let's get to it. All right, he's too old to go hunting.
No, we're not twins, just brothers, point blank.
Flood zones are interesting, Dan. Johannes asked about flood zones. Creative ways to deal with flood zones? Not really. It's more so just about getting it at the right price. It's a flood zone is not a deal killer for us. It shouldn't be a deal killer, but price has to make sense. It's more expensive. It's usually a property is going to sell on the back end cheaper because it's going to cost more money to build. There's more insurance needed, a lot of things.
Yeah. It's very market by market too. And you want to make sure if you're in that flood zone that other people are building that flood zone is desirable, because the end buyer is going to be, it's not like it's the end buyer who the risk is really on. So they're going to look at it just like how we do. And they're going to want, if every house around that area is not in a flood zone, they're not going to want to be in a flood zone. But there's certain areas with a ton of flood zones and it's just normal. So it's really market by market with that as well.
All right, we're going to go to Georgia. So like I said, I'm on id.land. This is the software we use to evaluate deals. We do have a longer YouTube video that goes into detail how to do different things on here. I'm going to go to parcel ID, and we're going to go to Crawford County, Georgia, Dan.
Let's do it. Crawford County, Georgia.
And it
Seen
looks
a
like we
couple
have
here
10
before.
acres. What'd you say?
Said I've seen a couple deals here before.
Yes, it's a popular one. So this is pulling up weird. Let me make sure I get the right things. We're right here, Crawford County, Georgia, and it is 10 acres. Let's look in the land. So what we do first, guys, I like to give it an eye test before we look at anything else. And again, it looks like a member sent this deal in. $22,000 is what they're under contract. They acquired this deal via direct mail. So they sent out direct mail, got this deal locked in at $22,000. They're saying they think it can sell around $50,000. So we are going to check that out. But
And what's the size again?
What'd you say?
What's the size?
10 acres. You see a utility easement going through the middle right here. I'm not really concerned about this, Dan. Do you have any concerns?
Not at all.
Yeah, it gives you enough building in front. You obviously have a ton to build. You can't build over utility easements, but you can put driveways over them. But let's go to contour lines. It's going to tell us the slope. These are 10-foot lines. So this is literally, if I go to 3D here, this is really telling us the slope. So it's going to be very relatively flat here. Ton of flat spots here. A land so far, Dan.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice. How many acres again? Say that one more time. I know I just
10
asked.
acres.
10 acres for 22. I mean, that sounds like a good price to me.
Wetlands, water
good
features.
shape. That's the things we look at, guys. We're looking at the shape. We're looking at the slope. We're looking at if there's wetlands, water features, anything like that. Really just an initial eye test. It's kind of like a mini due diligence session just to see what kind of quality we have. I usually grade them in my head like ABC. This is really, really solid land. There's neighbors. Anytime you have, all the parcels around it pretty much have houses, or a lot of them do, which is a really good sign. It shows the area is desirable. I really think this is going to be a good deal.
This is a land. You don't see land. It doesn't have any attributes like a pond or something like that, but like this land appears to be perfect. It's a little rolling, which people like. Full of trees, which is fine. It's not a problem at all. People can build out their home site. But I love this land. No wetlands, no floodplain, very little slope. Everything checks out. Great road frontage, like Daniel said. Someone could even potentially split this down the middle into 2 5-acre parcels down the line.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Easily.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options here. Let's see where we are in the county. So quality of land test, guys, it is near perfect. So we have Roberta. So this is Crawford County, Georgia. We're a little northeast of Roberta. So that is where we're going to kind of look for comps. And Crawford County, Georgia. So now I'm trying to figure out, does that $22,000 buy price make sense? We like to double our money. Like ideally for this deal to make sense, at least mid 40s, I'm thinking, Dan. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we have here. So I'm on 5 to 20 acres, and this is just for sale. Very little for sale in the county, Dan. We do have 7 acres for sale for $60,000. It's got a little bit of interest. But yeah, just not a ton of comps here. So let's go to sold. Okay. And again, we're somewhere, I think we might be right off of 80, but I'm not too worried about that. Very few comps. 8 seems cheap here, Dan. 9 for 38.5. I'm just looking at the notes on here, seeing if anything's wrong with it. There's a mobile home on it that's not livable. This sold in 5 days. So 420 listed, 425 pending, sold in 5 days. Not great on the price per acre, Dan. I just think like what I'm looking at here, guys, there's no competition on the market. Like if we look here and we're trying to look for 10 acres on the market, there just isn't anything. You do have some bigger parcels, but if someone's trying to buy that, like I think $45,000, $50,000, and this sells pretty much same day, Dan.
I think so, definitely. I think it's going to be a very desirable area. I mean, you got great land too.
This is a tougher one because it's not like black and white in terms of the sale price. I would probably be pretty aggressive with the pricing and try to go up to like 55, something like that, 49.9, something maybe. But there isn't much competition.
Yeah, which puts you in a good spot. Like for buying for 22, you got some wiggle room. Worst case scenario comps are still pretty good. You're gonna well over double your money on this, in my opinion. There's no demand. I think it will sell really quick. I mean, that was just April where that similar property sold in 5 days, right? So, yeah, this is a very, very solid deal to go over.
All right, let's get to our next one. If there's any questions, put your questions in here, guys. This is not just meant for going over deals. We want to answer your questions, any questions you have about the business model, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Max's deal up here. He's got a few parcel numbers, so I'm going to. What's the price, Max? Max just got that one under contract for 123, I think. That he's buying. It's a good deal. Hold on, this isn't working. I'm gonna try one more time. 3,400. Any questions in there, Dan?
Not really. Guys, throw your questions, any questions at all, and we can get over it. It doesn't need, like Ron said, it doesn't need to be just deals. We can go over anything. Seller didn't ask for any amount. Fresh call today.
This is not working, Max. Do you have a seller name? A lot of people in here, guys. Get your questions. Got to ask who copy. Oh, that's the
someone asked Ron while he's pulling that up. Someone asked about pricing up in there and just pricing mail and how we acquire in general. Do you want to go over that quickly? Just pricing, because what we do, guys, we send out blind offers for anyone who doesn't know our business model. We're acquiring properties through blind offers primarily, and then we do some texting, things like that. You can cold call, but blind offers is by far the most effective way that we've seen. And by doing that, it would say, like for Max, for example, and I said this example last week, I believe, but we'd give Max an offer for his land if he owned land in a certain area that we targeted, and Max would get a piece of paper that said, hey, Max, I want to buy your 5 acres for $55,000. So pricing your mail becomes a big part of this business, because we got to come up with, how do we get that $55,000 on there? Like, how do we come up with that number and stuff? Ron, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. And we actually, that's our podcast literally coming out tonight, Dan. Yeah. So what we do to get that is basically look at comps. So like I said, for that deal we just had, Crawford County, Georgia, it was a member who sent that mail out, $22,000. What they did was look at a bunch of comps, and that was a difficult one to look at. So they looked at a bunch of comps. They probably came up with a market value anywhere like $47,000 to $50,000 for 10 acres. And then they offered 22. They offered 40%, 42%. And that's what we're constantly buying properties for, is about 40 to 45% of market value. And that's what our business model. It's difficult. Getting that price on the paper is a difficult thing. We do that at scale. We're not pricing each individual piece of land. We're pricing based on location and based on acreage.
Yeah, and we send out thousands and thousands of pieces. It's a numbers game, right? We don't get most that we send out, obviously, but the margins in mail are so good. For every 2,000 mailers on average, we get one deal back. I say that's that all the time. It's roughly 2,000 to 2,500, somewhere in between there. We get one deal back, but our average profit per deal is in the 20,000s. So the return on mail is just really, really solid. There's other ways like texting and stuff. Max, I don't know. How'd you get these, Max? Did this just cold calling or texting, or how are you doing these? But there's other ways to acquire as well. That's just been our bread and butter.
So Max has this, looks like this is 63, 53, 34, 63, 53, 44. What was that? 116 plus 34, 150. So about 150 acres. He doesn't have a price on this one right now.
Is this a neutral letter then if you're sending mail, Max? 150. Okay, so 150 you're on.
Chicago's tough. We teach doing this. Shazal, yes, Chicago a good place to do this. It's tougher in the real urban areas.
Yeah.
We really prefer being an hour or 90 minutes to 2 hours outside. But this one's got more slope in the back. The key to this, guys, and I think Max sent a neutral letter. The key to this is getting a number from them as fast as possible. Figuring out what they want. The nice thing about this parcel is, yeah, you're buying 150 acres. We're going to get a discount when we're buying it 150 acres, but we can sell all 3 of these parcels separately, which is a very valuable thing for Max. It just comes down to getting at the right price. Beautiful land.
Yeah, really, really solid land. Very nice. You can't beat this with all that road frontage too, and you
Yeah,
can
you got
sell
all
them
this road
separate too.
frontage up here. Probably not subdividable anymore, Dan, but we do have 3 different parcels. You got a little bit of creek back here. Nothing's really up here, but this is very solid land. Let me see where we are in the county so we can try to get Max some kind of price. I believe that's what he's looking for.
A+ land again. So neutral letters are different than the blind offers I was talking about. Neutral letters, obviously, these people call back and you kind of got to price it out and comp it out. So it's more legwork for sure. And you'll get a little bit more leads, not as much from our data that we're seeing, not as much as you would think. But because it's a neutral letter, you do get a little bit more leads and there's just no price. So the work comes, instead of pricing the mail before and sending it out in bulk, a lot of the work for neutral letters will come after because they get the neutral letter. It says, I want to buy your land. There's no price on it. So then they'll call you and you start to negotiate and come up with an offer for them.
Yep. So we're down here in Sullivan County, New York. Our land is somewhere down here. Here's probably the best comp that I see, Max. Is 77 acres for $275. That's a little under 4 an acre, like 37 an acre. So I'm guessing 3,700 an acre. I would start at like 1,500 an acre and see what happens. Offer him $225,000. I think you have room to work up from there. I don't know exactly what the market value is. There are some bad comps as well as this. It's hard when it's this much land to give you like an exact number of what it's going to sell for. I know what a good deal is, but if there's no number coming in, it gets a little more difficult.
And it's already subdivided. So really this guy's going to see, he may see the value of his land a little bit differently because he might see it as the 50-acre tracts instead of 150, but you are buying this in bulk. And also on the sell side, you should be looking to sell this separately too. I would not sell this together. Definitely not.
Yeah, like here's 106 for 375. I really think this is the market value. It honestly is somewhere 3,700 to 4,000 acre if you sell it separately, like we said. Your land is very, very solid. Yeah, I would try to get for 150 acres. I would start at 225. I think you do have some room to go up. But that being said, I think that's a good starting number, but always try to get a number from them first.
Yeah, with neutral, it's a little different though. When that's like when we send blind offers and they say, I just want more, or I want more money. That's when you really, really try to do it. Sometimes for neutral letters, it's a strategy to just get an offer in their hand. Obviously, if you can get a number out of them, that's great. See what they want, see what they're willing to sell for. But sometimes you will have these situations because it is a neutral letter.
Yep.
It's a little bit different.
Adrian, Dan will put that in the chat for you. All right. Let me get to this Tennessee deal. Aaron.
All right. Let's get into it.
Aaron's been grinding along. 095. Is that an O? That's an O.
Henry County, Tennessee. Yep. Henry County, Tennessee.
How much money? 9.9. Okay. I lost the deal. Is it this?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's 2 acres. This is a little different type of lot. I think this will be good for you guys to see. This is more of like what we call an infill lot. This is a building lot. He did say there's some slope on here. So let's check out what that slope looks like. Contour lines. These are only 10-foot lines, Dan. Let's look at 3D because this is a smaller parcel, so it could look a little worse.
The first thing we always look at is like in these type of smaller lots, are there neighboring properties? Again, to show the demand. The left to the west, to the east, across the street to the north, all pretty much filled out. So that shows some desirability, Ron. Exactly.
I'm going to try to get different. I don't like that view. That's a nice thing about ID land. You can see a lot of different views. Different views are going to show different things. Buy for 9.9, sell for 20. Slope. I'm not over concerned. Like when we look at slope, guys, you look at nearby properties. These are all on very similar slope. You see this slope all around here, Aaron. Let's see if we have anything else going on the property. Obviously, we always get boots on the ground too. You always get people to walk the property before you actually purchase, send that wire out for the purchase. I like this land. I'm just not. We'll see. I'm a little bit familiar with this area. I'm not too high in this area in terms. Is this city limits also? So you go city limits. Yeah, so we're right in the middle of Paris city limits. So make sure when you're in the city, guys, you're in city limits, you need to find out county restrictions as well as city restrictions. You cannot just find county restrictions because this city is, I don't see many mobile homes. I don't know if there are mobile homes allowed. We want mobile homes to be allowed, a very important thing. Let me pull out these so we can see a little better. Yeah, I don't see mobile homes. So we'll see. I want to find city limit comps though, Dan. I think that's important.
Yeah, it always is. And I mean, for this one, I'm not as concerned just because how desirable the area looks. I mean, that's very, very built out in terms of very similar lots, just like yours. But the less restrictions, the better. Every restriction you have just shrinks your buyer pool a little bit more. And mobile homes are one of them that can shrink it a lot, especially depending on the area you're in.
All right, so I got 1 to 5 acres up. So this one appears to be in city limits.
How much are we in for, Ron?
9.9.
And what's the acreage?
9,900. Hold on. It's only 5 minutes to the city. 2.1. I just think he's a little bit high.
Whose deal is this?
Aaron Jerez.
Oh, nice.
I just don't think you want to crack that $10,000 mark. I mean, if you're able to fund this yourself, Aaron, I think it'll probably sell. I think that $18,000 one is probably your sale price right here, opposed to 20, like you said. This is what I would kind of bank on is closer to this sale price. If you're able to fund yourself, I think there's an option where you can maybe make $7,000, $8,000 real fast. If not, I like that like $75,000 to $8,000 number, which isn't asking a ton from the seller. You probably use slope to talk them down a little bit, negotiate down. But
he said he tried. He said he tried to talk them down, but are you funding this yourself, Aaron? That's the real question. Yeah, if you can self-fund, I think I would do this deal.
You'll make money on this.
Yeah, you'll make good money on it. It's just a little tight and small for deal funding. I think
on the ground on this, like it's not. It's going to pay for a lot more mail. Like if you go make $6,000-$7,000 on this, like that's another 10,000 mailers to get out the door and keep everything rolling.
100%. I would do it if it was mine.
Just make sure you find out city restriction stuff. Make sure you look in at the land. Make sure you get boots on the ground in the land. Yeah, it seems like a small area.
Yeah, I think it's pretty filled out. It's nice.
All right.
So someone asked about what. First, I'm going to get to this one first. I'm 4K neutral letters in. Only 5 responses and no interested seller. Have to decide to invest in more coaching and stop sending mail or blind offers based on free resources online. First off, 5 responses on 4,000 mailers is low.
Where's
like
this question? Go
how
ahead.
long has your all the mail has hit already? Or are you waiting on some to actually hit and be received by the potential sellers? 5's low. 4,000 mailers is a small sample size, but either way, 5's low based on our experience for sure. If you want, neutral letters works really, really well, but the problem with neutral letters is you have to invest yourself into pricing. They work, you'll get deals, you'll get really good deals. Aaron Jerez just got that deal off of it. The Crawford one got that deal off of that. So you'll get really, what's that?
Blind. You said neutral? Or are you talking
blind? Blind offers will get you good results, but you got to invest in pricing up front, like pricing the mail. So you got to, every single offer is going to have a price on it. That's what a blind offer is. So you got to invest in how do we come up with those prices and the analytics behind it and all that. We teach a lot of it. We have a lot of free resources on it. You could start with our YouTube channel. Ron said he had one coming out tonight on that topic, but whatever you do decide, you'll make it happen if you just keep moving forward. Like the beginning's always the hardest. So you got to keep going because you'll come around and get a deal and then it'll all pay for it.
Sometimes like not trying to sell a course or anything, but sometimes it can cost a lot of money. Some of these mistakes though, Dan, like at the end of the day, like some of these mistakes cost way more than any, like a black and white education thing. You'll have to piece like YouTube things. You'll have to piece things together in terms of figuring out on YouTube, and it still won't be as black and white. But that being said, you definitely can. It's just those mistakes, making mistakes on those, a 60-cent mailer is very expensive.
If I were you, I'm obviously biased because we got started and we made our like our land career out of blind offer. So I'm very biased for it. We've done neutral letters. We've done texting. We do texting. We've done it all. Blind offers, I'm telling you, once you do figure it out, it's the most scalable, it's the easiest, and will make you the most money with doing the least amount of work, I think.
FMP asked, what is the phone number to this company and how do I get involved? Join our Discord, landinvestingonline.com/Discord. That's a very good way to get involved. We don't have an active phone number that we just have open 24/7 for customer service. But our Discord, we do these calls weekly.
And Therese asked, any thoughts on other potential buyers aside from home buyers, developers? So we're not actually, what we do, Therese, we're not wholesaling the land to buyers or to developers and investors for the most part. That's a strategy, and it can definitely work. We're actually buying the land using deal funding money. So we're actually closing the property, the title in our own name, and then selling it and listing it online. On the MLS and listing it on, all the Zillows and realtor.com, land.coms, Facebook Marketplace. So we kind of max out that purchase. We close really, really quick to secure that because it's a really good property with great margin, put it in our name and then sell it right away and list it on the market to the mass public. What you're doing, one thing to do, Therese, you can get them in either something like an attorney in fact, if you can find those documents, and you can get it notarized by the seller, the attorney in fact, and then you will be able to list it online also on land.com. Depending on what you're selling, you want to go where your buyers are. So if you're doing infill lots, like smaller lots, like I assume you are, you want to put it on the MLS. You can put on a flat rate broker with a signed and notarized attorney in fact from the seller. And then you can list it to the mass market. So you're not relying on builders and all that stuff.
Nice. I'm reading through the questions, Dan, real fast. Really good questions. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Put your questions in here. I don't think we have enough time for another deal. We only have 3 minutes. We have our members only call following this. Again, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We have a lot of new videos, a lot of exciting educational stuff, kind of like, I forget who that was, Dan, but whoever was talking about free education on YouTube, we're trying to put out more of it for you guys. Yeah, get your last questions in here and we can go.
We got a good one. They said, how do you bulk price your blind offers? Do you use priced?
No. So what we do, we price using comps. Like we want to use, and I have a segment. Watch that video tonight if you guys haven't. I think we push the time back 7:30, the podcast, and it's literally talking about pricing. And I can give you a 60-second answer real fast. So what we do, we use recent comps. So like we're doing when we're comping out the land, we use recent comps. So for example, we're going to price 8 to 10 acres, all the same in terms of the price per acre. We're going to price 6 to 8 acres, all the same price per acre. And we're pulling comps priced. I don't like bashing price too much. There are some good tools on it, but if you use it as an end all be all for pricing your land, I have seen results that are like shockingly bad, like 80,000 mailers in 3 deals is what we had a student come in who had 80,000 mailers sent out and 3 deals from 100% priced. We switched them around and they got that down to like 2,000, 3,000.
Don't use it. Don't use it to price. Just don't. We've seen it and I've tested it out. We have the data behind it. I took our last 25 properties that we sold, plugged it in their system to see what they thought it would be worth. Like Ron said, I don't want to bash anyone. I'm just trying to help you guys and provide value. Just be careful with it for sure.
Our goal when we're pricing land, and I say this pretty detailed in the video that's coming out later, is pricing as much volume, as much of the land accurately as possible. We cannot price. We don't try to price for defects. We don't try to price for improvements. But if I can price 90% of my land at 50% of the market value, I feel pretty good. That other 10%, I'm not worried about. It's got defects. It's got improvements. If we get calls, great, we'll negotiate. But the higher percentage of quality price land is going to yield far better results.
Definitely.
Thomas, that's not in the members only call if you don't mind. Other than that, guys, any last questions? Let me see real fast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm going through here. We'll do these most weeks on YouTube. We'll keep you guys updated by text, by email. If you guys see this pop up on YouTube, you guys will see that.
I'll answer it. This is the last question. Then we got to go to the members only call. But I hope you guys please hit the subscribe button if you haven't. CyberSense asked, by comps, you mean surrounding land in the same county, state? Yes, correct. You want to find the most similar comps. So start with the rightful. Yes, things that actually sold. Don't look at for sale land at first if you don't know what you're looking at, because it can really drive you in the wrong direction. First, start with the sniper rifle approach and try to find something really close, same acreage, same kind of land. A lot of times in land, you'll find out that doesn't work. There's just not a lot of sold comps and a lot of comps in certain areas. So then go out a little bit, then expand your acreage, then expand your time back a little bit. The more recent, the similar to land, the closer the proximity in terms of location, the closer you can get to those things, the better. But you'll find out you'll slowly start to have to widen your horizon a little bit and come up with it and kind of plug and play.
No, Mike and Kathy, I probably inflated that number a little bit, closer to 40 to 45. Unless it's like a $500,000 property, then we will price at 50%. Once we get to that, we'll start pricing. As we get higher value, $1 million, $500,000, we'll price at 50%. Discord, landinvestingonline.com/Discord. That will get you our email, and then you'll get an email or a text message.
I just put that link in there as well, Ron.
Cool. How do I become a member of this company? Shoot that plan. Landinvestingonline.com has all the information on there. Dan will put that link in here one more time to the plans and pricing. We have a full program on this, teaching everything that we kind of went over. If you guys have any questions, come in the Discord, ask questions. We'll do these every week for you guys. Other than that, guys, we got to get
members. Yeah, members join up in the other one. I know there's some members in here. Join up in the members only call. And other than that, guys, we'll be here again next week, same exact time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining.